When two broken souls come together, the bond between them can be profoundly intense.
They were high school sweethearts.
She didn't grow up with a father figure in her life, so she has always looked for a man to fill that void.
He was book smart and street smart, and she just idolized him.
Transforming the lovers into an army of two, facing off against the world.
They used to fight. When I say fight, I mean fight.
She's blaming everyone, and she was responding to everyone, saying, you don't know what really happened. She was going to be a ride or die for him.
But in the maze of toxic love, ill-fated choices weave a path to destruction.
You in a dark building with gunshots ringing.
I've seen people screaming, getting trampled over, people stopping, picking people up.
And in the aftermath, innocent lives are irreparably shattered.
He had a gunshot wound to his leg and a gunshot wound to his chest.
It was just chaos, just everywhere.
May 4th, 2017. It's just after midnight in downtown Jonesboro, Arkansas.
The city of Jonesboro is a good community. It has great schools, good people.
Everybody know everybody pretty much.
Downtown Jonesboro is very old. You do have our Forum, which has like productions for like the ballet or musicals.
It's a lot you can do here to build if that's what you want to do, but you just have to apply yourself to do it.
Around 12:23 a.m., Jonesboro police receive an urgent call for help.
This call comes in to the police, and it's an active shooting that has taken place.
The caller says the ongoing incident is at 311 South Main Street, a local venue called The Basement.
The basement was just a place where they throw parties.
A police officer was down the street working at another club, and he was one of the first responders that got there.
As the officer approaches, he witnesses a human stampede at the club's entrance.
It was very, very chaotic because you're having people stepping on other people to get out, but you had a whole bunch of people trying to get out all at once.
The police went down into the basement. They found Monterio Barnes, who was a 19-year-old individual, young man, and he had a gunshot wound to his leg and a gunshot wound to his chest.
All of his friends were trying to flip him over. They was tugging on him, and the police was pushing him off of him, like, move, everybody move.
He told the police that he couldn't breathe, and they attempted to assist him.
There is an officer that stays with him trying to render aid, but it is too late.
Monterio Barnes died at the scene.
From the moment Monterio Monty Barnes was born in Blytheville, Arkansas, he was a force to be reckoned with.
He started walking too soon for me. He learned to talk very well and hold good conversations. Monterio gravitated toward older people.
We used to always say he'd been here before. He was like a little old man, like he a pandemic child before the pandemic.
A spike in local crime prompted his family to move.
We decided Jonesboro because I was raising a son.
They came here to bring their kids here, to go to the schools.
While growing up in Jonesboro, Monterio adopted his family's old-school values.
I tried to teach them things as far as respect.
Just wanted him to grow up and to learn that life will give you what you put into it.
Monty's strongest bond was with his sister, who he considered his best friend.
Most siblings, like your mom tells you to take your brother with you, and you know, they would grumble about that. She didn't. She liked having Monterio around.
Yeah, that was my boy. my right-hand man. Monterio Barnes was the light of the room. He loved his family, he loved his friends.
Despite his youth, Monterio embraced the present and kept his focus on future opportunities.
He was just so curious about a lot of things in life. He wasn't really afraid to do a lot of things.
No one would have guessed that future would become out of reach forever. Monterio Barnes is the first casualty Jonesboro, Arkansas police encounter at the basement nightclub.
The police are trying to figure out if they can find the shooter, for one, and clear the establishment before they can start doing the rendering aid of all those that had been shot.
Everybody stepping over each other, people getting walked on, stepped on.
You're having to triage, basically, when it comes to rendering aid, who needs help more, those that have gotten stepped on or those who had gotten shot.
You can't see nothing. You in a dark building with gunshots ringing.
Unraveling the mystery of who killed Monterio Barnes and why will push police and the community they serve to the limit. A shooting in a Jonesboro, Arkansas club left chaos in its wake and 19-year-old Monterio Barnes dead.
He choked on his blood on his back. That's how he passed.
First responders are now trying to make sense of the frantic scene.
They were trying to make sure that, for one, that the shooter is gone, that they aren't going to get shot.
I don't think they had enough police officers there quick enough to work the number of victims that they had. But that soon changed.
With so many people, like panic attacks, it was people that was having seizures, it was people that couldn't breathe, everybody on the phone with their mama. They trying to tell their mama where they at, what happened. It was chaotic. I never seen nothing like it in my life.
Monterio Barnes lost his life and 6 other people were shot.
You have Asia Smith, Carrie Bell, Cordarius Jackson, Devontae Fowler, Stephen Hawthorne, and Stephen Brimlett.
At the same time, responding officers interview partygoers to piece together what happened.
You have multiple officers arriving and they're getting statements from others because it's very important that we get the witnesses.
The few witnesses who remain on scene aren't interested in sharing.
You're having police starting to do interviews with people, but they are finding that it is harder than they thought because a lot of people are not wanting to talk.
I think they were afraid of what could happen to them if they talked to the police.
As they speak to bystanders, officers try to determine the exact details of the event hosted at the basement.
There was supposed to be a party and an event that was taking place by the CM Boys, Cash Money, and they were hosting just for local artists.
This was like an annual thing that they had.
They were charging an admission and they had a number of local rappers there who were coming in to just, entertain, and folks were just showing up to listen to the music.
Detectives arrive on the scene and begin collecting evidence.
When investigators arrived to the scene, they found bullet holes, blood, cartridges, indicating that this was a chaotic and terrible scene.
Someone who was completely disregarding any human life that was in that room. He just seemed to be shooting, didn't seem to be aiming at one particular person.
Forensic evidence also reveals an important clue.
There were 2 guns being fired in the basement, but the question was, who had the guns?
Witnesses remain tight-lipped.
As many people as there were in that establishment, we did not have a lot of people that wanted to talk.
I think it was a combination of things, just general distrust in the police and also just a general fear that was extremely frustrating and difficult, made the investigation very difficult.
In a situation like the basement shooting, law enforcement knows that there's one group of witnesses that may be convinced to cooperate.
A detective speaks to shooting victim Cordarius Jackson at their bedside.
When police interviewed one of the victims, he emphatically insisted that he only saw one of the two shooters. And when they speak to other victims, they say the same name.
These kids are saying, it's KK, it's KK, KK shooting.
Armed with the name of a possible suspect, police are determined to track KK down and bring him in for questioning. Jonesboro detectives investigating the fatal shooting that claimed the life of 19-year-old Montario Barnes and seriously injured 6 others have identified a potential suspect known as KK.
After speaking with victims at the scene, they're hearing the same name, KK.
Investigators recognize KK as 20-year-old Calius Lane.
Calius Lane was no stranger to police. He had prior arrests for battery, driving under the influence, criminal trespassing, theft, drug possession, and parole violations.
And KK is also known to be associated with a local group involved in illegal activities.
Calius Lane, Chauncey Thomas, Deja Giles. So it's what we would call a group, but they did participate in criminal activity.
For example, they were robbing drug dealers. I mean, the perfect person to rob, because that person doesn't want to get involved with the police. But a number of times, these individuals were winding up shot or deceased.
Police are questioning if the melee at the basement is tied to organized criminal activity, but witnesses remain silent about any affiliations, except for one.
The one thing everyone interviewed agreed on was that Montario Barnes had no drug connections.
As word spread about Montario's death, tributes from friends poured in, while various accounts of the incident circulated online.
There was a lot of chatter about the basement on social media, particularly Facebook.
You know, making posts about this, making a post about that, because my daughter and my son, they were very well known.
Montario's friends was posting and commenting on what went on that night, but they weren't the only ones.
Detectives monitoring social media for leads noticed one vocal individual from the group closely tied to the suspects, Deja Giles.
There are Facebook messages that are made about the shooting, and Deja is also making comments back to people on Facebook. So there is a conversation that is going on, and Calius's name is getting pulled up.
Then Deja posed, "Oh yeah, I brought a gun in through my crop top, under my crop top."
That post stood out to police right away and put Deja on their radar. And in fact, it gave them another lead.
They actually told on themselves because they couldn't stay off social media.
At the same time, an incriminating video of Deja begins to circulate online.
There was a post that was made by a mutual friend and happened to catch Deja dancing with the firearm. She does take it down, but of course it's on Snapchat and somebody screenshotted it and it was still out there.
Then, another video reaches the police through an anonymous tip, directly linking the shooting to their suspect, Calius Lane.
There were people just videoing themselves or videoing who's all in the establishment, and it happened to catch the actual shooting. And as it's slowed down, you can clearly see that it is Calius Lane that did shoot.
The detectives took the video and slowed it down to get still shots from the video. From there, they see Calius Lane wearing white pants and no shirt, firing a handgun.
He was completely disregarding any human life that was in that room. He just seemed to be shooting, didn't seem to be aiming at one particular person.
It is a nightclub, and I will say it was dark, but When you're having also strobe lights and white pants, you're going to be recognized.
Armed with the video evidence, police move to arrest Calius Lane and Deja Giles, but they are nowhere to be found.
Police release their names to the public and offer an award for any information about their whereabouts, instructing people to call the Jonesboro Police or Crime Stoppers.
It was more difficult to find KK and Deja because they had fled the state of Arkansas.
Detectives turn their attention to other associates captured in the video.
We identified the individuals who were in that video, and we began to confront people one at a time.
Investigators track down a known associate of the suspects, Chauncey "Jigga" Thomas, and his girlfriend, Natalie Johnson, and bring them in for questioning, placing them in adjacent interview rooms.
The initial picture that was painted of this shooting was that both KK and Jigga, which is Chauncey Thomas, were involved. We know that there were 2 guns being fired in the basement. So there was a lot of evidence and a lot of unanswered questions about who was shooting other than KK.
She's saying to the police, you already know because you have video of it. I'm trying to clear my baby daddy. He didn't do anything, but without trying to say it was Calius. No one in the inner circle actually want to say that it is Calius.
Detectives focus on Chauncey, but after 5 hours of questioning, they come up empty.
Chauncey has kind of been this entire time, I don't really know what's going on. He does not want to assist in helping his best friend basically get in trouble.
Officers decide to confront Chauncey with the video of the shooting.
He could not, at that point, basically dispute anything. There's nothing that anyone could dispute when it was on camera that he was shooting.
Chauncey Thomas is looking at a murder rap of his own if he does not cooperate with the police. So he finally begins to tell the truth about that night and his role with KK.
As they dive deeper, they learn that Calius and Deja are more deeply connected than people realized.
She bought the gun, she helped him flee, and she's deeply entangled with the whole thing. They were in a relationship.
Jonesboro, Arkansas detectives have video evidence showing Calius Lane firing into a packed dance floor, killing 19-year-old Monterio Barnes. But before they can be arrested, Calius and his girlfriend, Deja Giles, have vanished.
From the law enforcement perspective, it looks like they are fleeing the jurisdiction.
Since the authorities were unable to bring Deja and Calius in, they turned their attention to Chauncey Thomas, who was also caught on video during the shooting, to press for more information that would also help them apprehend the couple.
So during this whole time, we're just watching the news and trying to see if they're going to get this person or what.
Police closely monitor Deja's social media accounts in the hopes she reveals the couple's whereabouts.
Deja's socials does not show where they are, but they do show that she's doing damage control and scrubbing anything that may implicate her man in the killing.
So she's just trying to figure out who has the video and trying to defend Calius, and at the same time, they're on their way to Texas.
It turns out Deja's been running her whole life. Deja Giles was born to a single-family home where the streets seemed more attractive than the home.
Deja's father was in and out of prison.
Deja been out on her own since she was maybe 15, 16.
Deja didn't grow up with a father figure in her life, and so she has always looked for a man to fill that void, and she found that with Kalius.
Actually, Kalius is very smart. Like, he had the highest score on his SAT for his graduating year. He was smart, but he was street, too.
As their relationship deepened, so did Kalius's need for control.
The control seems to start small and mentally. He may want you to dress a certain way, then speak a certain way. Since he's the dominant one, he'll want you to be submissive without arguing. And the control goes from mental to physical.
Not that Deja didn't push back. She's been through enough to know she needed to assert herself any chance she got.
They used to fight. When I say fight, I mean fight.
But after Deja gave birth to their son, that all changed.
Deja was known for fighting, but after she had her kids, she let all of that go.
Kalius also had another baby mom and another child.
I don't think they ever broke up during this entire time, that they were together.
I think that when she had her child, she finally had a family that she could call her own that would not ever leave her. I think that she's created sort of a narrative in her head that, you know, we can be this, you know, picture perfect family.
Police know it's only a matter of time before Deja and Kalius resurface. Meanwhile, as they re-interview witnesses and Chauncey Thomas, a clearer picture of the night's events begins to emerge.
You are having some eyewitnesses that were just because they know that Monterio didn't deserve to die and they were going to tell the truth.
There was more questions the detectives had or the prosecutor had, you know, as far as the case was concerned.
The number one thing for me was, where did the gun come from?
The detectives know that Deja admitted on Facebook that she hid the gun in her crop top. What they want to find out is how did she get the gun in the venue that had a no weapons policy.
They were intentionally screening folks at the door for weapons.
The security there were just checking some of the kids that were coming in.
I don't think they were patting down the ladies.
After speaking to the witness, police discover that there was another gap in security.
So there was a gentleman in a wheelchair that had to go to the back entrance.
It was an old building, didn't have any real handicap access, and he came in without going through security.
On his wheelchair, he had a backpack that other partygoers said that he had, that they believed to have had firearms in that backpack.
Now, with a clearer picture of how the shooting went down, detectives zero in on the why.
What was going on? What was the reason for the fight that started this whole shooting in the first place?
Detectives review both previously obtained and new witness statements and zero in on the same key information.
Many of people that police spoke to mentioned the event that happened earlier that night. They all said it seemed to involve a man named Devontae Fowler, a high school friend of Monterio Barnes who had gone with him to the club.
There was a beef that happened with the person that my son was with that night. All I know is that Devontae Fowler, call him Woo Woo, he had a disagreement with those guys about something.
It's two fights. One before the club, one during the club.
We do know that there was a fight that ensued between Devontae Fowler and Stephen Brimlett, and that Stephen got knocked out by Devontae.
Stephen Brimlett and Chauncey Thomas were friends. And after that, he was telling everyone that he was going to knock Woo Woo out in retaliation.
Chauncey was going to just fight Devontae. Like, we were gonna brawl it out, but no gun stuff.
Monterio Barnes wasn't a part of any of this. He wasn't on hand for the first fight, and he had no skin in the game for the second fight.
Munchie didn't have no problems with nobody. Like, he didn't beef with nobody. He never been in a fight before. Never.
Detectives determined from witnesses' accounts that it was KK's idea to take the fight to the next level, and Deja was willing to help.
Kalius brought a gun to a fist fight. I don't know if it was alcohol-induced or what, but he's the one that decided to shoot.
Once KK decided to bring weapons into it, he had to get them past security, and that's where Deja got involved. She helped him sneak the gun in.
With a mountain of evidence in hand, police intensify their search for Kalius Lane and Deja Giles.
There was a warrant for Kalius Lane's arrest for murder and for battery at the basement.
His name is going up on all the news outlets. We need to find Kalius Lane.
Authorities would soon get the break they'd been waiting for.
An anonymous tipster called Crime Stoppers and reported that Deja and Kalius were on their way to Texas.
This couple was like Bonnie and Clyde. They were on the run, but their time was running out.
Days after the death of Monterio Barnes, police are zeroing in on the location of the shooter, Kalius KK Lane, and his girlfriend, Deja Giles.
The police had issued a bolo for Kalius and Deja, and their names were all over the news, with a reward offered to anyone with information about their whereabouts. The police didn't have any information about their whereabouts until a tip came in that they had escaped on a megabus.
They were taking the megabus to North Texas.
Deja's mother lived in Texas, near Dallas, so that's probably why they're headed there.
They were staying in an abandoned house for a whole day. My homegirl, she knew exactly the exact location, like the exact address. So she hit me up. Do you think Deja gonna go to Texas? I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly where they going. She like, well, I got the address. She talked to the police. They went straight and got him. I don't even think it was a full 24 hours that he was picked up. Remind you, they had to get there, so the house was vacant. They didn't even have water. They were staying like savages because it was a vacant house.
After just a few days on the run, Deja and Kalius are apprehended. Once in custody, Kalius refuses to speak to detectives.
He invoked his right to counsel and no statement was given.
When Deja is interviewed by police, she maintains that the couple were never on the run at all.
She admitted going to Texas with Kalius after the shooting.
She says that it would have been just because they were already moving there.
Detectives aren't buying it.
Law enforcement decided to obtain a warrant for the arrest of Deja for hindering apprehension because she fled with Kalius Lane to Texas.
Kalius Lane is charged with first-degree murder.
I'm thinking they got Chauncey and they got KK. They got the two guys involved in the shooting. Now we're going to be able to go to trial and get the ball rolling on this whole thing.
The prosecutors have a lot left to iron out in order to secure convictions.
The basement case is a very complex case, and one of the things that we would have to work on or wait on, prepare for, is the physical evidence that was retrieved from the scene. It typically takes a number of months for all of the evidence to be processed.
Throughout the investigation, one piece of the puzzle has remained out of reach: the identity of the other shooter.
From the forensics on the scene, we know that there were two guns being fired.
The other shooter was not caught on camera.
But we had one individual who identified Chauncey Thomas as the other shooter.
Scouring video evidence tells investigators another story.
In the direction that the shots were shot, The second shooter came from behind, which would have been in the direction of shooting towards Kalius and Chauncey. So there's no way that Chauncey could have been the shooter.
If it wasn't Chauncey, like they initially suspected, then who was it?
After many, many months and interviewing many, many witnesses, we had a witness come to us and say that the security guard was the shooter.
He had a weapon, and from what I understand, he started shooting also.
I don't know, I can't get in Malik's head to tell you why he chose to do that, but it put him in a position of, I'm going to fire my firearm because someone is shooting in the direction that I am in.
After considering all the facts and evidence, Malik was not charged because the decision was made that he was acting in the defense of others.
Would probably be no different as an active shooter comes into Walmart and you have someone shoot the shooter, but you accidentally shoot other people. You are trying to shoot the shooter and disarm the shooter.
If Kalius Lane had not started shooting in the basement, none of this would ever have happened. And Monterio would still be alive.
Now, the key to holding Kalius Lane and Deja Giles accountable for her part in the killing lies with those closely associated with them.
Chauncey Jacob Thomas was said to be the star witness.
The prosecution had already pled Chauncey Thomas, and within his plea, he pled to hindering apprehension, and he received 60 months unsupervised probation for that. And part of his plea was that he would have to provide truthful testimony.
With a growing stockpile of evidence, prosecutors are confident they'll secure a conviction.
We have probably, in this case, the best evidence that you could ever get in a murder case, and that's video of somebody doing the act.
Monterio's family is looking forward to the trial. They're ready for their day in court.
I really and truly thought that it was going to go to trial because of the way that we were moving. But once we got close to that time, it would be a continuance, and they would have to push it back further. And it would be pushed back, 6, 7 months.
So we were a year and a half almost before we were going to be able to get to a trial. We were issuing subpoenas, and the prosecution and defense were making offers, trying to see what they can do.
It went on and on and on. Continuance, continuance, continuance.
Detectives are unable to recover the gun Kalius used.
There's this second shooter. We don't have a firearm. So yes, we do not know whose bullet killed Monterio.
And the case would take another unexpected turn.
I don't know why he would act this way.
That day in the courtrooms, it was awful. It was a slap in the face.
The courtroom was locked down, and the police had to come to the building, and it was terrifying.
For months, family and friends of Monterio Barnes, an innocent bystander caught in the crossfire of senseless violence, have anxiously awaited their day in court.
By all accounts, this was an open and shut case. But in the 11th hour, there were holes in the case regarding whose gun killed Monterio.
Prosecutors opt for a plea deal instead of a trial and meet with Monterio's family to break the news.
We told them what concerns we did have if we did present this in a trial.
The prosecuting attorney told me that he didn't think that a jury of my peer would have found him guilty.
That is why we ended up pleading it down to the murder in the second degree.
Calius Lane's plea deal includes charges related to the other shooting victims.
We also did battery 1 for some of the victims that had been shot. So he did receive 30 years in the Arkansas Department of Corrections, and he'd be eligible for parole after a fourth of that time.
You kill somebody. That person wasn't taunting you. That person didn't have a gun on you. That person hadn't threatened you. And you literally, not once, not twice, possibly 3 times, you shoot this boy for nothing.
With time served and the possibility of parole, Calius could be out in less than 10 years.
Deja Giles takes a plea deal for harboring a fugitive and receives a 36-month sentence.
The family was very upset that for the hand she played in it, that was a very light sentence.
At the plea hearing, Calius Lane and Deja Giles' behavior proves even more shocking.
So during the plea hearing, he did seem to have a lack of remorse for what these individuals had gone through, the family of Monterio.
That day in the courtrooms, it was awful. They talked back and forth with each other, KK and Deja. They were very, very disrespectful to my family in that courtroom. They cursed us. Deja very smart-mouthly said to me, "Sorry about your loss," and kissed at me.
Tensions escalated as Calius's supporters reacted to the sentencing.
That boy family wanted to attack my family and friends because he killed my son. They were done injustice, is what they said, because he didn't do nothing.
I don't know why he would act this way, but afterward, there was a dispute in the courtroom between, I assume, rival individuals. The courtroom was locked down, and the police had to come to the building, and it was terrifying.
We didn't pull the trigger. Y'all did, and you killed my son and wounded 6 other people.
Through it all, Deja Giles firmly stands by her man and their family.
I think that the reason why she helped Calius was her wanting to hold on to her family, hold on to that idea that I have my son and I have someone who, says they love me and, wants to be with me, who's been there for me.
You making poor decisions to be with a man or do what the man asks you to do because y'all are cool in a gang or whatever the case may be. But who's gonna raise your children?
Deja continues to hide behind the fantasy of a perfect family, a fantasy that Calius
Comes from daring. Social media and dating apps have forever changed the world of love and romance.
Back in the day, people discovered romance through personal interaction. Now it's swipe right or swipe left. You're judging someone not by their personality, but simply by how they look.
Fixating only on the physical can lead to a revolving door of romantic partners, and the result can be as uncertain as a coin toss.
Are you meeting the woman of your dreams, or is it a psychopath? And how will you know?
A lot of men become naive and humble and vulnerable to someone that they're interested in.
But what happens when love goes off the rails?
You could be having the time of your life one minute and be living your worst nightmare the next.
Love is one of the oldest motives for murder in the book.
June 22nd, 2020, Columbus, Georgia. It's a warm summer morning in the state's second most populous city, one which continues to grow by leaps and bounds.
There are so many different cultures and backgrounds that make up Columbus, and it makes it a great place to live, a great place to be.
The city is filled with parks, museums, and other amenities, including the extremely popular Chattahoochee River.
A lot of what is happening in Columbus is centered around downtown by the river.
But on this morning, the city's attention is focused on a small neighborhood in the southeast part of the city.
At 7:19 a.m., a concerned citizen in this neighborhood calls 911 to report what appears to be a dead body lying on the ground in the cul-de-sac.
This isn't the type of neighborhood that you would normally just find bodies laying in the street. This is a family neighborhood. This is not normal, so to speak.
Patrol officers are the first to arrive on the scene.
They find a black male, looks fairly young, maybe in his 20s or 30s, and he's lying face down on the ground, doesn't have any obvious injuries.
They thought maybe he passed away on natural causes, and when EMS got there, they rolled him over, and during that time, EMS has now determined that the subject is lifeless, and they have found the gunshot wound. There's stippling around the wound, which means the gun was in close proximity to the body, 6 feet or less.
On the ground nearby is a 9mm shell casing.
That tells police that the gunman used a semi-automatic weapon which automatically ejects shell casings, and it was a 9mm. So they know what kind of weapon they're looking for.
Homicide detectives arrive, as does the county coroner, who is able to help narrow down the time of death.
It's actually hard to determine exactly how long without having an actual temperature of the body and then gauging the temperature of the night. But as far as the investigation and working with the coroner's office, we kind of narrowed that window of somewhere around 8 to 12 hours of him being on the street.
A search of the victim's pockets reveals neither a wallet nor a cell phone. Investigators do find more than $400 in cash.
That's a large amount of cash to be carrying, and it's very unusual to carry it loose in your pockets like that rather than in a wallet.
Detectives notice one other unusual detail. The man is wearing socks, but no shoes.
The lack of shoes is kind of unusual. When they look at the socks, they don't really see a lot of dirt or gravel, so it doesn't look like he walked a long distance.
And there is no vehicle in the cul-de-sac. So of course one of the first questions is going to be, how did this individual get to where he is now? Is he from the neighborhood?
We found a necklace or a chain that had been broken and was next to his body. We also found an empty gun holster that was at his waistband. It was actually halfway out of his waistband when we rolled him over. So at that time we knew one of two things. Either this was an attempted robbery and things went bad, or somebody wanted him dead.
Can I talk to you for a quick second?
Patrol officers fan out and begin a canvass of the neighborhood.
Did you hear or see anything last night, this morning?
Not only are they looking to see if the victim is from the neighborhood, but they want to see if anyone saw or heard anything unusual the night before.
If he was killed 8 to 12 hours earlier, as the coroner estimated, then that means he was shot sometime between 8 p.m. and midnight. So someone very easily could have heard the gunshot, looked out the window, and saw the killer.
Well, the kids say they heard a lot of firecrackers, which we did too, you know, like pow, pow, pow.
Right,
I don't know if it was a gunshot or what.
You could also find that you've got witnesses that don't even realize they were a witness. They could have seen something that they naturally just kind of shrugged off, didn't think anything about it. The other thing you have to also consider is you might have a suspect that lives close by as well too.
We spent several hours working the neighborhood, not only for leads, not only for witnesses or video surveillance, but also in hopes to identify our victim. But we struck out all day long.
Detectives have one last hope, a new technology they call the RID.
We currently have a tool that's a device that it's kind of like a cell phone, but it has a fingerprint reader, connects to the internet. We call it the RID. It's the rapid identification device. Ours is linked to our local jail system. Anybody that's been arrested or anyone that's received a citation or anyone that had a reason to be fingerprinted would be in our database.
They use the RID to upload their victims' fingerprints, but there's no match.
That led us to believe that either he's a Columbus citizen who has never been in any type of trouble, or he's not from Columbus at all.
Detectives are really behind the 8 ball on this one. Solving a John Doe murder can be extremely difficult to do. Most murders are committed by someone who knows the victim, but if you don't even know the victim's identity, you have no way to determine who knows him and who comprises his inner circle. The clock is ticking and detectives are still stuck on square one. They can't identify the victim and they have zero chance of finding his killer at this point.
When the body of a young man is found lying dead in a cul-de-sac in Columbus, Georgia, detectives have no idea who the victim may be.
There is no identification, no wallet with the body, there's no car or any suggestion of how he got there. And a portable fingerprint reader shows he has no record of being arrested.
Detectives and patrol officers conduct a canvass of the neighborhood looking for any potential witnesses, but they don't find anyone who knows anything.
The body is sent to the morgue, where an autopsy will be performed. Detectives notice that their victim has several unusual tattoos.
He has a tattoo on his arm that says Kiyoki. Police assume that's probably a name, and it's unusual enough that someone in the community might recognize it and provide some helpful information.
Police take a picture of the tattoo and put it up on social media so the community can see it and hopefully they get a call.
It's late afternoon, and almost 10 hours have passed since the body was discovered. Detectives contact the FBI, who have their own version of the rapid identification device.
Our device is only linked to a database that we use with the Columbus or Muskogee County Jail, but the FBI has access to a similar device, but their device is linked to multiple databases from multiple jurisdictions.
The FBI agent scans the man's fingerprints, and within minutes, he has a name: Travis Jermaine Henry.
Travis Jermaine Henry was born on February 22, 1998, in Montgomery, Alabama.
Travis, or Trav, Lil Trav, as we affectionately called him. From the beginning, he was a handful. He was the first grandson on both sides of his mother and father's side of the family. He loved his parents and his grandparents. Travis's mother was Kiyoki Ball, and Travis was her only child. He gets a lot of his personality from his mom, because she was just so full of energy.
Travis was so close to his mom that he got her name, Kiyoki, tattooed on his arm.
He was his mom's child. He was definitely his mom's child, and they shared a bond. He loved both of his parents, made no mistake about it.
After graduating high school, Travis focused on building a business that could help others.
He had like that entrepreneur spirit about him. He wanted to build and even do things in his community. One of the things he wanted to do was he wanted to buy properties, rebuild and, revitalize, renovate these properties and offer low-income housing.
It didn't take long for Travis to find success, and he enjoyed its trappings.
He loved old school cars too, so he had like an old school Regal that he invested money in, and he had recently had gotten a BMW.
In the spring of 2020, the COVID pandemic took the entire world by storm. No one was more directly affected than the Henry family.
Travis's mom, Keoki, became very sick early in the pandemic and eventually succumbed to COVID. Her death was devastating to Travis.
During the early stages of COVID, you couldn't visit your loved ones. You had to just kind of talk to them over the phone. That last week or so of his mom's life, he wasn't even able to be with her physically, to comfort her, just be there with her.
Just 2 weeks later, Travis's grandfather also passed.
His grandfather had suffered a stroke, I think it was, and he was hospitalized. But once his grandfather found out about the news of losing his daughter, of losing Kiki, needless to say, it just kind of floored him. So Travis' mom passed on May the 20th. His granddad died, I think it was June the 7th. So that Thursday before this happened to Latrell, he actually had to bury his grandfather.
The tragic events took a toll on Travis.
He was struggling. I mean, we all were struggling, but it definitely, the relationship him and his mom had and stuff, he was definitely struggling. He didn't even want to stay at his mom's house, anymore, because it was just reminding him of his mom. He had expressed interest in relocating to Georgia. He wanted, kind of like a fresh start, to kind of get away.
Following a day-long investigation, detectives finally identified Travis Henry as the man found dead in a Columbus, Georgia cul-de-sac. Later that night, a large contingent of family members arrived at the police station in search of answers to their questions about why Travis was killed.
He was not some sort of loner who just went off and did his own thing. He came from a large family in Montgomery, Alabama that loved him, and he loved them in return. They were very involved in his life.
Most of the family members are in shock or even denial.
This can't be Trav. Maybe a mix-up or something, someone that looks like him. I don't know. I don't know, maybe just, I guess, grasping. It gotta be some type of mistake, like.
Of course, this is a very common response for family members. The first stage of grief is denial, and they simply can't believe that Travis is gone. And as they slowly begin to accept that, they want answers.
We quickly tell the family that we don't disclose any information, because if we tell them what we have at that moment and they tell somebody else and then it leaks to somebody else, if somebody ever come forward as a witness and told us something that we knew, we wouldn't be able to verify whether or not that information was firsthand or not, because we let it out. So it gets frustrating sometimes when family members, when we can't answer their questions and we tell them that we are working leads, but we can't tell them what those leads are.
The Henry family graciously accepts that response.
You could tell he was sincere, that because he expressed, I want to find who did this to your loved one.
The family tells police that on June 21st, 2020, the day before his body was found, Travis made plans with his cousin to go to the Peachtree Mall in Columbus to do some shopping.
But something came up, and his cousin ended up backing out of the trip. And that was last anyone heard from Travis, which is pretty unusual. He wasn't the type who simply disappeared and stopped communicating.
Maybe he's going through where he's kind of maybe isolated himself for a minute, that this grief is getting to him. So we got to get to him to let him know, baby, we all here. I immediately text him, nephew, I'm just leaving the doctors. You know, reach out, let me know if you need to just come to the house. Come on, or whatever. No response.
Sylvia tells police she becomes worried and, with other family members, begins trying to locate Travis.
So I went to Toya's house. You know, they had been checking hospitals. We checking in Montgomery and Alabama and stuff, just trying to see, did anybody hear anything, see anything? Gotta get some type of answer. Nothing about this is sitting well.
One of Travis's friends tells police that he has access to Travis's Facebook page. Messages on the page show that after plans with his cousin fell through, Travis agreed to come to Columbus to meet a woman.
A cousin of Mr. Henry's had access to his Facebook page and was actually logged into Mr. Henry's Facebook page on his cell phone. So we was able to see who he was last in contact with. And they would show us that he was in last contact with a female by the name of Terriana Horton. My partner at the time recognized the name from a case that he had worked when he was assigned to another bureau in the department. And he recognized her Facebook page, and he said, yeah, I know this girl.
The detective remembers that a year earlier, Terriana Horton's brother, Terrion Joseph, had been murdered, and Terriana had been interviewed about that case. So he begins digging through police records to try to find a current address for Terriana Horton.
Travis Henry's grandmother, Vicki McLemore, is also at the police station that night. She tells Detective Hayes that Travis was driving his BMW 528i when he came to Columbus.
Detectives enter the vehicle into their system as stolen, and it is immediately compared to all reports of found vehicles, and detectives are instantly notified of a BMW 528i that was found earlier in the day in Phoenix City.
We were able to work with Russell County Sheriff's Office in Russell County, Alabama, and the Phoenix City Police Department, Phoenix City, Alabama, and find that actually earlier that morning, while we were working our crime scene, there was a vehicle, a 911 call in Phoenix City, Alabama about an abandoned vehicle, and it was about the BMW. We go there and we find this is the vehicle that has the registration to Miss McLemore.
The car is found parked in a grassy area near a landfill.
It's a very rural area, and the car is actually pulled off the road through a dirt path and then halfway into some trees and brush. So it's pretty clear that someone was trying to hide it so it wouldn't be found.
Travis Henry's cell phone records show that his phone last pinged off towers in the area where the car was found. This strongly suggested that it was put there after he was already dead, so he didn't drive it there himself.
Crime scene techs immediately begin processing the BMW for fingerprints and DNA evidence.
Whoever parked the car obviously had some involvement in the murder. So police are hoping that they'll find something in or on the car that will help them identify that person or persons.
The vehicle appeared to be ransacked and possibly wiped down, as we didn't get any fingerprints confirmed from any latent lifts off of the vehicle.
But there is one clue in the car. In a cup holder in the center console of the BMW, they find a soda cup with the logo from Circle K convenience stores.
Cell phone records show Mr. Henry's phone pinged a tower near a Circle K.
Most convenience stores have surveillance cameras, so detectives are wondering, did the killer stop and get a soda from the Circle K? Could they be caught on camera?
Detectives investigating the murder of Travis Henry uncover information that leads them to a Columbus, Georgia convenience store.
They're trying to identify who's driving Travis's BMW because they are more than likely involved in the murder.
Detectives go into the Circle K and obtain the store's surveillance video from the night of June 22nd, 2020.
The video shows that at 10:13 p.m., a dark BMW with a European tag on the front bumper pulls into the parking lot. The driver of the vehicle gets out of the car and goes inside the store.
Detectives immediately recognize the driver as Travis Henry, so clearly this video was shot before he was killed.
With that video, we're able to see what he was what he was wearing. He's wearing the same clothes we find him deceased in. He's wearing all of his jewelry.
So you're not actually able to see if someone else was in the car. But the video shows that the car headlights and taillights remained on, so Mr. Henry did not turn the engine off. And that strongly suggests that someone else, someone he trusted, was inside the car while he went into the store.
If Travis did have a passenger in the car with him that night, police can't help but wonder if it might have been Terriana Horton, the woman he made plans with online.
You can see in the video that he has a smile on his face, so he doesn't appear to be under any duress at that point.
He exits the store 4 minutes later carrying a soda. He is back into the driver's side of his BMW, backs up, and drives off.
Investigators download the content of Travis Henry's Facebook page, including his messages. They discover he first began messaging Terriana Horton and another young woman named Kalea Sumter 5 weeks earlier.
On May 15th, Travis received a friend request from Kalea Sumter, and then less than 10 minutes later, he received another friend request, this time from Terriana Horton. And then immediately after that, Travis and Terriana began communicating through private messages.
What we quickly realized, Mr. Henry had previously met these two girls somewhere. They knew each other. And that these two girls, Kalea Sumter and Terriana Horton, were flirting back and forth with Mr. Henry.
Travis messages Terriana that he and a friend are interested in meeting the girls.
A short while later, Terriana asks Travis if he and his friend are able to come to Columbus that night.
Travis's mom is very sick at the time, and she's actually in the hospital dying from COVID, so he's not able to go and meet with them. Over the next month or so, they have sporadic contact, so there is just some messages here and there, just sort of general flirting.
On the afternoon of June 21st, 2020, Travis messages Terriana that he may come to Columbus for the night.
Terriana messages him back. Come on. She tells him that they can go to the Riverwalk and hang out.
He basically hits the road. His cell phone shows him traveling. He's hitting different towers from Montgomery to Phoenix City to Columbus. We see that he makes contact with her, says, hey, I'm getting close. Where can I meet you?
Terriana tells him to pick her up at an apartment complex in Columbus. She doesn't give him an exact street address, but she provides various landmarks for him to follow to get there.
His phone would show him arriving, taking the highway and arriving to Whisperwood Apartments here in Columbus, Georgia. You can see in their conversation on Facebook, he says, hey, I'm here. She says, hold on, I'm coming out.
Detectives are convinced that the Facebook messages suggest that Terriana Horton is, at the very least, one of the last people to see Travis Henry alive.
Detectives know they have to find Horton and question her as soon as possible.
Detectives know, based on social media messages, that 20-year-old Terriana Horton was with Travis Henry the night he was killed.
They also know that Travis had interacted with Kalea Sumter on Facebook, and they could tell from those initial Facebook messages that Kalea and Terriana were most likely friends. So police are looking for both of these young women. Because Terriana had been questioned by the police before, detectives are eventually able to find contact numbers for her parents.
We would actually make contact with her mother and father, who lived here in Columbus, Georgia, and they would bring Terriana Horton to us. We simply expressed that, Terriana Horton's name had come up in an investigation, and that it was important that we speak with her.
Terriana Horton's early life was filled with upheaval.
Not a lot is known about her family life, but we can assume it was pretty chaotic. She ran away from home several times. She was even reported missing by her mother. She was involved in numerous fights in school and out of school, on the streets.
It's quite common to see children who have troubled family lives also have issues in school, and Terriana was a good example of that.
Terriana's brother, Terrion, was apparently killed in street violence in 2019.
There was some indication that her brother was in a gang and his murder was gang-related. It's not uncommon for juvenile females to be attracted to this gang activity that involves street fights and running around late at night committing robberies and being involved in shootings. Her brother also got caught up in that type of life.
Witnessing her brother's death must have been a very traumatic experience for her. It probably pushed her even more towards a life of crime.
Around this time, Terriana and Kalea Sumter became friends. Kalea was a few years younger, and they came from a similar background, so they started hanging out together.
Detectives also tracked down Kalea Sumter's parents.
We had kind of stressed the fact, we kind of pushed the idea to her family that Kalea Sumter's involved in this too. So we get her, and we now have both these young ladies in the police department, and we're going to conduct interviews with both of them.
Hayes begins by questioning Terriana Horton. She admits she knew Travis Henry prior to their online encounter.
Both the girls met Mr. Henry at some party somewhere in Alabama, and that's how they became Facebook friends.
You can see in the messages that she's starting to flirt with Travis, and she suggests several times that he come to Columbus, and finally, on June 21st, he does. Because of all the flirting they've already done online, there's a pretty clear implication from Terriana's messages that if he comes to Columbus, they will end up having sex. And Travis actually talks about getting a hotel room for that night.
But Terriana tells police she is doing this at the urging of her friend, Kalea.
According to Terriana, Kalea is sort of the driving force behind all of this. She asked Terriana to lure Travis to Columbus because she and two men she knew wanted to rob Travis.
Those men are 19-year-old Lydell Sparks and 25-year-old Wayman McMillan.
Police wanted to understand Terriana's relationship with the two men involved, and whether her actions were part of a collective plan or done on behalf of one of them.
Lydell Sparks is a troubled young man. And I don't know very many law enforcement officers with the Columbus Police Department that during the years between 2018 and 2020 wouldn't have had some sort of contact with Lydell Sparks. Stolen cars, burglaries, domestic disputes, gun charges. Mr. Sparks and his partner Wayman were always involved in something.
They had a lot of stuff on their social media that would indicate they were involved in guns and drugs and things like that.
They targeted Travis Henry because on his Facebook page, Travis had pictures of his BMW, and he was wearing a lot of expensive clothes and jewelry and flashing a lot of cash.
They knew he had money, and they'd have a large sum of money to take from Mr. Henry.
Terriana says the plan was for her to take Travis to a secluded section of the Riverwalk.
The plan was that Terriana would get Travis alone, and then the other three, Kalea, Lydell Sparks, and Wayman McMillan, would come upon them and rob them.
They would have a getaway vehicle because they would have Miss Wharton's vehicle, and they would leave the victim there.
But the plan hits a snag. There are too many potential witnesses on the Riverwalk.
There's a playground and a splash pad there, which draws a lot of children and families, especially in the summertime. So even though it's 9 p.m., it's a hot summer night, and there are a lot of people there.
Terriana texts Kalea that there are way too many people there, and the plan is not going to work. So they have to come up with another plan.
One of the guys would suggest go to Nina Street, and Miss Sumter would text Miss Horn, "We're going to Nina Street, go there."
They were familiar with that area, and they knew it was a cul-de-sac that had a bunch of abandoned homes nearby, so it would be quiet and secluded.
Terriana says to Travis, "Hey, it's too crowded here. Let's go to some place that's more quiet." And he immediately agrees.
At Terriana's direction, Travis parks in the cul-de-sac, and they talk for a while. Terriana then sees another car pull up and tells Travis that it's some of her friends.
Kalea, who Travis Henry knew because they had met previously at a party, walks up to the car, and Travis rolls down his window and they begin talking.
Travis doesn't see that behind Kalea is Lydell Sparks, who was holding a pistol in his hand. Then suddenly Sparks jumps out from behind Kalea, pointing a gun at Travis, and pulls open the front door.
What no one realizes is that Travis Henry is also armed. He has a pistol in his holster in the front of his shorts. And when he sees Sparks, he tries to pull the gun out of his holster.
But before Travis can grab the gun, Sparks fires one shot, striking him in the chest.
Sparks pulled Travis out of the car, and then they quickly started pulling off his jewelry and his watch. And then panic set in, and they worried that someone had heard the shot and realized they needed to get out of there as quickly as possible.
They panicked, which is the reason why the $400 cash was left in his pocket behind. They just left Mr. Henry dumped on the side of the road to die.
Sparks gets into Travis's BMW and drives it across the river to Phoenix City. Terriana Horton, Kalea Sumter, and Wayman McMillan follow him in the other car.
They wipe down the BMW for fingerprints and then abandon it there.
Terriana Horton has told Columbus, Georgia police about her involvement in the murder of Travis Henry. But detectives believe she's not being completely truthful.
Terriana is saying that she wasn't really involved in the plan to rob Travis. She's pinning most of the blame on Kalea and the other two men, Lydell Sparks and Wayman McMillan. But detectives have Kalea in another interrogation room, so they're able to go back and forth with the two women, basically comparing notes on what each of them is saying. And Kalea says it was actually all Terriana's idea.
Kalea also says it was Terriana who had a long-standing romantic relationship with the shooter, Lydell Sparks.
Terriana Horton and Lydell Sparks had gone to school together, and they had dated for several years. They had broken up a couple of times, but always found their way back to each other, and they could never really leave each other alone.
She would tell us that they were no longer dating, but they were still friends, still hung out with each other. I personally believe that was just her way of self-preservating and denying any relationship and emotional ties to Mr. Sparks to try to make herself look better. I think she realized quick that if she's admits to dating or being involved with Mr. Sparks at the time of the incident, it would make her look even worse for luring Mr. Henry here for what he thought was going to be some sort of intimate relationship.
Terriana eventually admits that the robbery was Lydell Sparks' idea.
Given his long criminal history, this certainly makes sense. But the way this scheme was run, with Terriana reaching out to Travis Henry via Facebook, it's clear she was just as involved.
They had been dating for many years, and she may have clung even tighter after her brother's death. The fact that she went along with the plan spoke volumes on the type of hold he had on her and the bond that they shared.
Terriana Horton and Kalea Sumter are arrested and charged with armed robbery and murder. Police also arrest Lydell Sparks and Wayman McMillan and charge them with the same crimes.
In their statements, Horton and Sumter both identified Lydell Sparks as the shooter. But because the murder is committed during the commission of another felony, in this case armed robbery, they are all considered legally guilty of murder under the felony murder rule.
In exchange for their testimony against Sparks, Horton, Sumter, and McMillan are offered plea deals.
Terriana Horton pleads guilty to armed robbery and is sentenced to 20 years in prison. Although she will only serve 8 behind bars and the rest is probation, Kalea Sumter also pleads guilty to armed robbery and gets 15 years with 6 to be served in prison. McMillan is also sentenced to 15 years with 8 in prison.
Due to COVID protocols, Lydell Sparks' trial for murder is delayed until June of 2022. He is convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of a parole.
The jury would deliberate several hours and would come back with a guilty verdict on all charges, which, as an investigator, is the most rewarding feeling that you could ever receive, is a guilty verdict on a murder.
I wish he would have got the death penalty.
Travis's family also blames the other participants, especially Sparks' girlfriend, Terriana Horton.
I definitely would describe her as lost. She did this for his approval or, again, to be in his grace or whatever. Like, senseless to me. They didn't pull the trigger, but I would have expected more time. I honestly would have liked if they would have been given more time. Why do I say that? Because it's almost like you all were too comfortable collectively to engage into something like this.
Put together a plan to commit a robbery on somebody who's working hard for their money, who they thought was rich or flashy and would carry cash on them everywhere they went, and they preyed on him. I think she loved him more than she ever would explain and would have done anything Lydell wanted her to do. And that includes setting up other men to be robbed. I wonder how many times that they did this. How many times did they set up a man, being an attractive young female, meet somebody at a party, lure them here, or lure them somewhere, and were successfully able to rob them of a few $100, and didn't lead to someone's death. A lot of times, a lot of crimes aren't reported to the police. Sometimes victims feel like there's going to be retaliation if they do report it. Sometimes victims are just scared to tell what happened. I wish I could find out what and how many times Miss Horton, Miss Sumter, and Mr. Sparks had been involved in this before.
She fell for this bad boy, and they had this long on-again, off-again relationship. But she could not leave him for good. She kept coming